All right, so as we look at this, how many sections or what is a tape measure typically broken down into? Okay, 16 sections, and you'll see that on this example here. Now, there are times, like, for example, we have some steel yardsticks or the speed squares that only have 8 sections in their inch, okay? So just know that you can tell how many it's typically broken into by counting the amount between the 0 and the 1 or between the 1 and the 2. So 16 is typically what we would see. And again, sometimes you see more on a tape measure. The first foot may have 30 seconds on that, and that's where there's a line between each 16th of an inch. Now, typically, if you've used a tape measure enough and you know the markings, then it's pretty easy to use. But when we look at this, I can tell you from my example, when I first started out, I was in college and I was working at a cabinet shop, and I knew where the quarters and the halves and the 3/4 were at, but I really couldn't tell you specifically where all the markings were. And so what I had to do is, if I was given a number like 10 and 7/8, I had to take 7/8 and convert it to 16ths, because once it's in 16ths, all we have to do is count over. So if I'm looking at 7/8 into 16ths, that would be 14/16, and I could count over by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and finding 14/16 or 7/8. So I don't know what the correct term for that is, but we're unreducing it, right? We're making it bigger. And so that could be an option for you. Now, if you're feeling really snappy about the tape measure, you maybe want to know where 7/8 is, and you could count by 2s. So you could count by 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, and 7/8, okay? Just know that however you do that, and I would probably, if you're not feeling real comfortable with it, stick to the just counting by 16s or over and putting it over 16 rather than counting by 2s, okay? So hopefully by the time we're done with this course, you'll use the tape measure enough, you'll know where each of those markings are, that we can start to feel real comfortable with it and do better with recognizing the markings. Now, after using it enough, it becomes kind of repetitive enough that you can just look at a size and not even have to count over and know where it is. It's 2 bigger than a half. Well, that's 5/8. Okay, so hopefully you get to the point where you're using that a little bit more. So we're going to be looking at one of our worksheets that has this exact ruler on there, and it has arrows pointing to each number, and you have to tell me what each number is, or each marking is. So I might say number 15, and 15 might be way up here in the front. Otherwise, it would just be the answer if they were in order. And you tell me what that marking is. Okay, so you might have to just count over. Maybe you write the numbers across the top and then just count over if that's easiest for you. Or you could count over 1, 2, well, that's 2/16, because we're always over the maximum number, and then reduce from there. How many of you feel pretty comfortable with the tape measure? Like if we took the final tape measure section test today, you could pass that, no big deal. Okay, some of you feel like maybe you need a little bit of work, okay, and that's fine. That's what we're here for, to learn that a little bit better and to get a better understanding of that. Also remember, when you're counting over and working with your fractions, that you need to reduce your fractions. The best way to know if it needs to be reduced is look at the top number of the fraction. If the top number is even or divisible by 2, then you know it needs to be reduced. And what you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. So if you reduce the top, you reduce the bottom and come up with a whole new fraction. So for today, what I want to see is you're going to work on this little worksheet. You're going to go through each marking and tell me the sizes. Again, remember, for everything I'm going to show you in here, except for the tape measure maybe you bring, every mark is going to be 1/16 of an inch. I'm not going to really show you any rulers with 30 seconds or with like only eighths on them, okay? Everything I'm going to show you on worksheets, tests, things like that are going to be in the 16th format. All right, any questions? All right, and I'm going to walk around and help you with this worksheet as we get going.